There is a chance that every time you go to the gym, you are killing your gains. But I will say there is a 99% chance that that does not apply to you, because 99% of people don't train hard enough to the point where going to the gym is actually going to adversely affect their ability to grow muscle. So it can be hard to tell when you're so fatigued to the point where every time you train, it's actually going to negatively impact you. Right now, I'm easing off from my training and implementing a deload week. And I'm doing so for 5 reasons. But before I get to that, I need to explain what the purpose of easing off from your training actually is. So over time, when you're training very hard, your body is going to accumulate fatigue. And that fatigue can manifest in many different ways. It can be mental fatigue, feeling tired, lethargic, really not wanting to train. It can also have a physical component where your body and muscles are simply not recovering from session to session. So you might hit a leg day on Monday, and by the time it hits Thursday to hit legs again, your legs are still sore. It can also show not just in muscle soreness. You can be getting aches and pains in joints throughout your body. Your knees might just feel quite torn down, or your elbows might be feeling really sore. And these are signs that your body isn't adequately recovering from session to session. And to allow your body to fully recover, what you have to do is take a step back from your training and allow your body to actually recover fully before entering the next training block, where you will be pushing yourself hard. There are certain signs that you can look out for to notice when your body really is fatigued and when you should be taking a step back from your training to allow your body to actually recover. I did mention there were 5 reasons I have taken a step back from my training right now. The first reason is that I feel more fatigued than I normally do. But you have to be careful with this one, because you need to be able to differentiate your body actually feeling fatigued and you just not wanting to train that day because you can't be bothered. But generally, what I look out for is just feeling really tired at the gym and not having that same enthusiasm and zest to push some weights. The second reason is that I notice myself not fully recovering from session to session in terms of muscle soreness. So, as I said earlier, I'd hit legs on Monday, and by the time I had to hit legs again a few days later, I would still be feeling soreness in my hip flexors and my groin, which are just signs that your legs and muscles haven't recovered from that first session. The third reason is that I could actually feel my grip strength in my forearms weakening over time. And it's one of the best indicators to tell whether your body is, as a whole, fatigued. So let's just say you normally press 30 kilo dumbbells on bench press. And when you pick up those 30 kilo dumbbells, they just feel a bit harder to hang on to. When you pick them up, they're just harder to pick up. That can be a sign that your forearm strength is fatigued, which is an indicator that your whole body can be fatigued as well. This is especially so when you're doing a pulling exercise. For example, you might be doing rows. And when you're doing dumbbell rows, for example, you can't actually hold onto the dumbbell for long enough to complete the set because your forearms are giving out. The fourth reason is that I've just been noticing random aches and pains in my joints. So in my elbows, they just feel extremely tender. And when I do any tricep exercises, it really hurts to do them because over time, my elbows have just succumbed to wear and tear. In fact, sometimes when I pick up dumbbells, I can just feel that tenderness in my forearm and elbow region. And the fifth reason is that you kind of begin to plateau in terms of the weight and reps you're doing. Again, in order to become stronger over time, your body and muscles need to recover. And a sign that you're not recovering properly is that your numbers in the gym aren't going up. But you do have to be careful with this one because it can be due to a range of factors. For example, it might be a poor diet, or you might not be pushing hard enough in the gym. So when you are experiencing a lot of those things, it might be a sign that you have built up a lot of fatigue to the point now where your body can't recover and continue to build muscle. And that's when you need to ease off from your training and implement what's called a deload week. What a deload week is what the name suggests. You cut back on the load of your training. And what I do is I cut the weights I lift in half. So if I'm squatting normally 100 kilos, I would squat 50 kilos for a similar amount of reps. This type of training should not be difficult at all. It should be quite easy, in fact, and you shouldn't be getting a pump from this type of training. It's good to get a bit of blood flow to the muscle for sure, which can also aid in your recovery. How I like to think of it is when you open up a website and it just won't load, and you're sitting there for a minute or two and it's still not loading. You just see that circle loader thing go round in circles and circles. But when you close the website and then reopen it, it will load straight away. So what a deload week is kind of just resetting your training and allowing you to continue loading into the next block of training. The other option is that you just stop training completely. I personally prefer the deload week over stopping training completely. And that's because when you continue training, albeit with a deload week, you can continue on the momentum you've built from going to the gym and building up that routine. I think when I've stopped going to the gym completely in the past and then have come back after a week or maybe 2 weeks off, it just feels a lot more difficult to get back into the swing of things. Firstly, your routine, but also just being at the gym. You kind of just forget what the form is sometimes. But when you continue training with a deload week, you're able to perform the movements that you normally do, and you don't lose the ability to perform those exercises with perfect form. I think the only time I would completely stop training altogether was if I was just severely ill and I was physically incapable of going. So sometimes less is more, but you've got to make sure that you are experiencing the signs of fatigue to then cut back on the amount of training that you're doing. So if you learned anything from this video or you enjoyed, consider subscribing because we're getting to 2,000 subs. And as always, leave a like, leave a comment, and let me know what you think. See you later.